about.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are in anything. You don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline. Because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
Discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. That is a great quote.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can do that, you can be successful in anything.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about, is nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation.
Fuck your motivation. Fuck your motivation. You need discipline. Because motivation's not there every day. I'm missing motivation most days.
Wow,
Some
really?
days, yeah, sometimes I got motivation. Sometimes I'm like, fuck yeah, today I felt good. I can't wait to get to the gym. But a lot of days, like, gotta get to the gym. And then once I get going, then I feel great.
Yeah.
And I feel great when it's over. But it's that beginning part that's hard because your body wants to stay comfortable.
Be the guy who embraces the ugly, the miserable. Be the guy who embraces hard work, the grind. Don't be afraid of being hurt. Don't be afraid of sacrificing some blood.
You know, trivial things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things weren't going to pull my attention. It had to be things that I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for.
At what age did that goal become crystal clear?
I made that deal with myself at 13 years old.
At 13 years old?
13 years old. That's the
you
deal
were
I made.
crystal clear about it.
Crystal clear.
And I'm telling you, that you don't need to determine. I'm telling you it's worth it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you it is worth it.
Yeah.
And you know what? You actually know it's worth it. That's why you're asking this question. You know it's worth it. You know it's worth it to have discipline, but you think there's an easier way. Yeah. You think that it's something that people have. You think that when Jocko's alarm clock goes off, it's like, oh, just like my father taught me. I rise and I shine. You know, like, no. It's like the pillow feels soft and comfortable.
Yeah.
And the alarm clock is banging on my head and I don't like it. But you know what? I know it's worth it to get up and get after it. I know it's worth it, and you know it's worth it.
You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things, and that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't fucking do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of fucking spark, you can burn the whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be, you have to be your best self when you're least motivated.
You know how many times people say things like, close your eyes, visualize with me. It's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What does your house look like? What does your car look like? Imagine having a house with a swimming pool and it's a 4-story, you got elevator, you got this view, okay, that's great. But how about we do it in a different way? Close your eyes, go 20 years from now, and you don't do nothing. You stay the same as you are today. How many divorces you got? What happened to your family? How about the people that said you're gonna quit and they say, I told you so? Every single time you have to appease to their opinion becoming factual because you gave up on your dreams. Say, that's the real exercise. And if you're okay with that, keep living life the way you're living.
The reason most people fail is because they give up what they want most for what they want now.
You don't have to work hard, you don't have to eat right, you don't have to sleep right. You don't have to do more than what's required of you. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. But you also don't have to win. You don't have to be a success in life. And that's why so few people achieve great things. Because they don't want to sacrifice, they don't want to discipline for something greater. So you see all these people that have great things in life that you look up to, it's because they were sacrificed and disciplined long before you ever knew them.
You gotta get tired of losing. At some point, you gotta be fucking tired of not being number one. And you gotta fucking play angry. And I play angry. You gotta work every fucking day. It doesn't end.
Because I'm pissed off for greatness. Because if you ain't pissed off for greatness, that means you okay with being mediocre.
I can't relate to lazy people.
we don't speak the same language. I don't understand you, and I don't want to understand you. It's the fourth quarter. Once this year's over, you can't go back and add nothing to it. What kind of competitor sees the finish line and slows down? Hear what I'm trying to tell you? Close, 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 close. Why? Because the world treats you different when you close. The world treats you different when you can finish, where much is given, much is required, but you're gonna get the rewards. Rewards come after you work, not before. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary.
You look for excuses. Look for solutions. That's what winners do. Losers are always looking for the excuse. Well, the winner looks for the solution, man. Why don't we put the energy into the dreams that can be? The reason why you're doing that, if you are, you're not working hard enough, you're not studying hard enough, you're not burning the midnight oil every night, which prevents you from staying awake in the midnight hours later in life wondering what it could have been. You erase that through all of this payment, guys. It's free. You don't need to shoot up for it, you don't need to snore it, you sweat for it. And then when you leave here, it's an abdominal will that's been nurtured. You don't think about second place. You think about first, and then the legacy, and building the gap between you and every other person.
Those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
The top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, so keep climbing.
Everybody's living off the hope factor. They hope the water's never cold. They hope the weather's good. I don't live off that hope shit. I wish the water's cold. I wish the rain. When the end is unknown and the distance is unknown, that's when you know who the you are.
If you're disciplined, in fact, that's almost what discipline means. Discipline means that you're capable of making sacrifices, because you're not disciplined if you just do something you want more rather than something that you're doing. That's not discipline. Maybe that works and great. If your life is working out that way, great, man, but that isn't discipline. Discipline is when you want to do something right now, and instead you think, no, I'm going to forestall my gratification, maybe forever, but certainly for a very long period of time, medium to long period of time, and you concentrate on something that you think will bear fruit in the medium to long run. And so you look into the future and you decide that by making today a little less impulsively pleasurable, shall we say, you'll make tomorrow a little bit more secure and productive. And then you actually do it too. And that's difficult, you know, and people watched the successful succeed and the unsuccessful fail for thousands and thousands of years, and we thought it over and we drew a conclusion. The successful among us sacrifice. The successful among us delay gratification. The successful among us bargain with the future. You wake up in the morning and you think, okay, this could be a good day, whatever that means. You don't know, right, what a good day is, but maybe you've had a couple and they're not so bad, and so maybe you think you could have another one, but you don't know, and you think, okay, you ask yourself, and this is meditative, what is it that I need to do today so that this would be a good day? And your brain will tell you, it'll say, you know that bill that's hiding under 5 pieces of paper on your desk, you should haul that sucker out and pay it. Or there's something you're avoiding that makes you anxious that your brain will pick on right away, and it'll say, you have to do these whatever number of commitments today, and if you do them, then you've fulfilled your obligations. And if you listen to yourself and do the difficult things that yourself tells you to do, the idea is you don't have to compute the utopian future, because following what it is that you tell yourself to do every moment is the best path to whatever the best outcome is. So you might say, well, at least you can start your self-organization by improving those things around you that are self-evidently not good. And that's easy, man. Anybody can do this. You can sit down for 10 minutes, say, well, I'm going to be honest with myself. Like, oh, that's a horrible thing to do. I'm going to be honest with myself. Okay, I'm probably doing a dozen stupid things that I could quit doing that are making my life more wretched, and also the people around me. And so you think, okay, what are those things? And you know, if you really want to know, you have to want to know. And you're going to get a bunch of information that you don't want to hear, but you'll know it's true, and you already knew it in some sense. And then you can ask yourself, okay, that sucks and it's miserable and it's not very self-affirming. Is there one of those things I would be willing to do something about, that I would actually do something about, you know, that I could do something about, that I would do something about, which is also another horrible question, because as soon as you get an answer to that, then you have a responsibility, right? It's like, oh God, I have to go do that. And it's something you don't want to do. You don't want to do it. That's why you've been avoiding it. And so then it's right in front of you. And it's like it's some little trivial, horrible thing that you're not going to get a pat on the back for, and no one's going to give you an award for it. But then you go do it. That's kind of humility, I would say. And then you keep doing that. Well, anybody can do that. And that's associated with these great evils, you know, in this way that we've already described. It's like you're constraining, you're improving your character, and you're constraining the kinds of actions and perceptions that you have that are going to make you sick of life and work against it. Because failure does that. That's the Cain story. It's like, keep screwing up, man. See what happens. If you think that isn't going to make you bitter, and if that isn't going to make you vengeful, and if that isn't going to make you work to hurt people around you, or at least not to help them, which is the same thing, then you're just not paying attention. Everyone knows that's true. So, well, that's responsibility, right? And then, so you take on this great task of putting yourself together. It gives you life meaning. And that also helps you be buttressed against the fact that there's lots of suffering in life and there's lots of malevolence. It's like, yeah, true, man. Absolutely. It's worse than you think even. But you can do more about it than you think. You know, there are systems, neurological systems that underlie your experience of negative emotion, and there are neurological systems that underlie your experience of positive emotion, and they're separate systems. They obviously interact, but they're separate systems. So, but the positive emotion system, well, there's two of them, but one of them sort of kicks in when you get something that you want. So, you know, you're hungry and you eat, and that feels good. And so that's kind of the simple one. But there's a more sophisticated one that I think is even more active in people. And it's the one that tells you that you're moving forward towards something worthwhile. And that's actually the one that gives people that sense of meaningful engagement in their life on a moment-to-moment basis. So, and it's also something that doesn't have to go away. Like if you're hungry and you eat, well, that's good, but it's over, and then you're on to the next thing, right? It's not exactly sustaining, it's just necessary. That's called consummatory reward, by the way. This other reward system is incentive reward. And the incentive reward system works on dopamine, this neurochemical dopamine, which is also the neurochemical tracks that opiates and cocaine and amphetamines, the drugs that people really like to abuse, alcohol often for some people, activate. And so you might say if you don't have enough meaning in your life, then you're more prone to addiction. And that's definitely the case, even with rats. If you take a rat and you put him in a cage by himself and he has nothing to do, and then you give him access to cocaine, he'll get addicted to the point where he won't do anything but take cocaine. But if you throw the rat back in with a bunch of other rats and he gets to do rat things, then it's very hard to get him addicted to cocaine. And so the purposeless rat is prone to addiction. Well, it's the same with human beings. Now, here's a corollary to that, which is really cool. So the magnitude of the reward you experience as you're moving towards a goal is proportionate to the importance of the goal. So that means the more important the goal you pick, the more possibility there is for the kind of reward, let's say, it's really a state of being that is life-affirming. And it is directly life-affirming in that, you know, like if you're in a football game and it's an important football game and maybe you break a finger, and you know, normally that's a problem. It hurts and you're going to stop doing whatever you're doing. But if you're right in the middle of the game, then you'll be so amped up on this reward system that it's analgesic. It stops the pain. It also suppresses anxiety. So if you have a purpose, then it's analgesic. It takes some of the pain out of life. It's very positive in that it motivates and energizes you and focuses you and makes you able to remember and pay attention. And it quells fear. No one says, well, in 100,000 years, who the hell cares? So why does it matter? No one says that. They listen to that. Not if they're human. They listen to that story and they think, that's not good. It's like, that's right, that's not good. It's not good. You should do something about that. Because it's self-evidently not good.